Work is like hunting for money. What do you mean by that? Think about how people used to survive in the past versus how they survive now. In the past, when people wanted to eat, they had to grow their own food or they had to go out and hunt and gather their food. I can't do any of that. Me neither. Now, when people want to eat, the norm in modern society is to make money and use that money to buy food. That's what I do. Isn't that what everyone does? No. There are still places around the world where people grow their own food, where people still hunt and gather. Oh, okay. In modern society, instead of growing our own food, instead of hunting animals, instead of gathering nuts and berries, we go to work in our offices for 8 to 10 hours per day, where we hopefully make a lot of money that we can use to buy food and meet our other survival needs. Money is pretty neat, huh? What are some examples of our survival needs? There's 1, food, 2, shelter, 3, water, 4, oxygen, and 5, fire. We use money to help satisfy all of our survival needs today. What about oxygen? You don't need money to breathe. Okay, you're right. We use money to help us satisfy most of our survival needs. For the time being, air is still free. And so is love. Yay! Instead of doing the hard survival things for ourselves, we outsource them to others. Who are these others that we outsource them to? People and companies. So why do these people and companies do the hard survival things for us? Because we pay them money. Money! They do it because it makes them money. Money! They provide a valuable service and people pay them money for it. Oh, and they get that money and use it to help satisfy their survival needs. The money cycle. Let's use the example of food again to help illustrate this. Most people these days don't hunt and gather or grow their own food, so they go to a grocery store or supermarket and buy it there. Or they get it delivered straight to their house and they don't even have to step outside. Exactly! And this is made possible by having money and outsourcing it to others. You don't have to own the grocery store to be able to go in there and buy food, as long as you have enough money to pay for it. That makes sense. But if you went into a grocery store without money, you're not going to be able to buy food. True. And no for-profit company is going to deliver food to your house if you don't pay them money for it. They wouldn't? They're providing you with a valuable service and you provide them with money in return. That seems like a fair trade to me. So how would you get food without having any money? You could choose to grow your own food, or hunt and gather, or barter, but it's generally easier and more convenient to work a job and earn money and use that money to buy food. Unless you're retired and wealthy, or you were born into a wealthy family and don't have to work at all. Silver spoon. Let's use the example of shelter now to help illustrate this even more. In the past, when people needed shelter, when they needed protection from danger in nature, they had to either go search for pre-existing shelters in nature, like caves, or they had to build their own shelter to live in. I'm too lazy to do that. Of course you are. Most people these days don't find shelter in nature or build their own. Instead, they either go rent or buy shelter, which could be an apartment or a condo or house. But how do they rent or buy shelter? With money! They need money for shelter. But where do they get that money? They need to work and earn it, unless they're already wealthy. Silver spoon! If you don't like the work you currently do, if you don't like your job, as long as you're making money, at least it's helping you put food on the table. And in your mouth. And in your stomach.
Yum.
Yum.
The alternative is that without money, you'd have to grow your own food, or go out and do some hunting and gathering. Would you really want to do that?
Really?
Really?
Not a chance. I think it could be fun. So, instead of hunting for food, in modern society, we're hunting for money. Conscious Money School. Money.
Money.
Money.